Hey, it's Jason from Legend Story Studios. I'm a game developer for Flesh and Blood, and today we'll be looking over a draft from the top 8 of the Auckland Calling. We'll be looking over Sasha Markovic.'s draft. He came second after Swiss. Let's take a look at what's in Sasha's first pack. We have a Scar for Scar top end, and as well as an Iron Rock Gauntlet. We can see Sasha's just sorting out all the cards by their class. You can sort them out easily by their border. Looks like Sasha is really looking at that Scar for Scar, maybe the nimblism. In general, it's quite nice to pick up these top end red cards early on, especially when they don't tie you to a class. Looks like Sasha's also favouring a disable, a premium card for Guardian if he chooses to go that route. So Sasha picks up the Scar for Scar red, a fine first pick, and this card can go into many different decks, primarily best in Ninja or Warrior, but all 4 decks of Vulcan to Wraith can be playing it. So the next pack we have Breaking Scales, a ninja equipment, as well as Barrage and Beatdown and Snatch. Looks like Sasha's leaning towards looking at the ninja cards. This could be because he first picked Scar for Scar, and Scar is very good in ninja decks. Looks like he's tossing up between the Snatch or the Leg Tap, or maybe even the Barrage and Beatdown. Sasha is going to pick the Barrage and Beatdown yellow. This card is a very good card in Brute. It does everything you want to do. It pays for the weapon, and it's a good card if Sasha's looking to go into Brute. Now let's look at the third pack. Even though Sasha picked up a Brute card, he's not fully committed into Brute. He can still go into a different class if there's a lot of cards in that class's cards for him. Looks like Sasha's prioritizing the Brute card and also looking at Ninja. He's brought up Awakening Bellow red to the top as well as Wrecker Romp. Awakening Bellow, a much stronger card in Wrecker Romp, and he chooses to pick this card. Now at this point, Sasha's picked up 2 Brute cards in a generic. By no means is he committed to going to Brute, and he should still be looking at all his options. But he does have 2 powerful Brute cards ready to draft Brute if he chooses so. We see that Sasha is bringing up all of the Brute cards to the front, and also Ninja. It looks like he's still considering Ninja to be on the table, especially after that Scar pick. He's brought up all the red cards at the very top. For those of you that are less familiar with draft, the red cards are very powerful effects that provide little resources, but have a generally more powerful effects than its blue counterpart. Looks like Sasha's just going over all of the red cards, trying to pick up some powerful cards before looking to pick up resources to pay for them. At the same time, I think Sasha's also kind of seeing what different class cards are being picked up by everyone else in the table, and should I go Brute? Looks like Sasha picked up the Savage Swing, another very good Brute card. Now going into the 5th pack, Sasha has 3 Brute cards, so generally he's trying to be sticking to Brute. He immediately pulls up Primeval Bellow as well as another Brute card. Now here's an interesting fork in the road. So even though it's most likely Sasha's going to be picking up a Brute card, he's going to have to choose between Primeval Bellow, which is a very powerful effect, or Breakneck Battery, which is a 6 power Brute attack. Brute, while playing Rhino, really cares about these 6 power attacks, and you want to have a nice amount of them in your deck. However, Sasha opts to go for the more aggressive pump action card. Sasha looking at that head jab. Still have some ninja cards hovering around the front, but he immediately brings out two pack hunts. He brings out the Breakneck Bellow as well as the Pummel. Looks like he's very committed into Brute, and Brute is very open in this draft right now. We can see that each of these packs actually have quite a lot of Brute cards, and Warrior is the class that is missing the most in this pack. It is very likely that Sasha has been passed by a Warrior player. So Sasha chooses to pick up Pummel, a generic card that can be played in any deck, but it sells in Brute and Guardian. So Sasha's going to immediately be putting all of the brute cards in front, and looks like there's 3 brute cards in this pack and a few ninja. There doesn't seem to be too much warrior or guardian in this pack, and he immediately just picks up the Savage Feast blue. Alright, Sasha's going to be bringing up all the generic cards. There is a lack of brute cards in this particular pack. Looks like he wants to be picking the Raging Onslaught. Although Raging Onslaught is a generic card, it is much better in brute than the other classes. This is because it still has a pitch value of 2, which pays for your Romping Club, but also has 6 attack, which is very vital when you're looking to intimidate your opponent with Reiner's hero ability. At this point, Sasha is very committed into brute, and he is looking to find as many 6 power attack action cards, as well as anything that's just generically good in brute. He seems to have the sharpen steel up, maybe thinking there's just no strong warrior player at the table, but he does pick up another 6 power attack. Looks like there's a lot of ninja cards in this pack. Sasha may be considering hate drafting the Breaking Scales or the Snatch. If by hate drafting, it means taking a card that may not go inside your pack, but you don't want to play against it in this pod. Even though you won't be putting the card inside your deck, you will be likely to be playing everyone else at your table. He chooses to go for the Snatch. That can still be played in any deck. This next pack has Iron Rot Helmet, which Sasha does take, getting his first equipment and his equipment in the head slot. Looks like there is another Iron Rot Helm that's not the one that Sasha wants, and chooses to just take a ninja card away from the table. Sasha is starting to see that there are a lot of ninja cards coming around. Maybe there's only one ninja on the table, and Sasha gets rewarded with 2 brute cards. Unfortunately, he cannot take both, so he just takes the Breakneck Battery, and now he takes his final pick. So now we're having a review time. So it looks like Sasha has been picking primarily brute cards and cards that are good against brute, even though ninja is quite open, and he probably knows it by seeing a lot of ninja cards coming out late. He has like around 10 brute cards, and it's pretty hard for him to get out of this class at this point. At this point in the draft, you wanted to be kind of taking a look at what class are you going to be and how does my resource system look. While drafting brute, he really wants to have 6 power attack actions, as well as a lot of like resource cards that in particular ones that can add 2 or more. So we're looking for yellow pitch and blue pitch. This is because both of them pay for the Romping Club. So at this point, Sasha has quite a lot of pump effects for his brute cards, as well as maybe like 5 or so 6 power attacks. So going into the second pack, Sasha is looking to pick up some more powerful cards, as well as watching his resources. So going into this pack, Sasha brings the Primeval Bellow up to the top, removing the crack ball because it is a token. So it looks like Sasha is tossing up between Demolition Crew and Primeval Bellow, without much consideration for the rest of the pack, as these are by far the 2 most powerful cards when playing brute. He chooses to go for the Primeval Bellow. I believe that is his second one, a powerful card that will make his next attack hit for a lot more. Alright, this next pack has an Awakening Bellow red, as well as a Regurgitating Slog. Regurgitating Slog, another card that has 6 attack, which is very good with Rhino ability. He is also bringing up Sigil of Solace to the top. At this point, Sasha is just looking at the generic and brute cards, not having any intentions in going into any other class, and looking to just make a powerful brute deck. He chooses to go for the Bellow, which is his second one. Sasha's deck right now currently has a lot of red cards, a lot of very powerful effects. He should be looking to filling out his deck with more resource-oriented cards, which includes 6 power attacks, but more importantly, some more blue cards that pitch for free. Sasha opens up his next pack, and there's a Scarf or a Scarf 4, very powerful generic card, and he also brings Goliath Gauntlet to the front. He does not currently have an arms, so in a sense, this equipment slot is free. So unlike Constructed, you have to draft your own equipment slots when you're building a deck. You can't just like play with the ones that you have at home, and he chooses to pick up the Goliath Gauntlet. Now we know that the equipment cards will be used every single game as you start with it in battle, so it is quite a strong pick, but he did have to forego a Scarf or a Scar Red for it. Next pack, he has the Backbone Strapping. This is the Brute exclusive equipment as well as a Barraging Beatdown. He does not have a chest piece yet, so he might be looking to be picking that strapping, and he does in very short time. So now at this point we know Sasha has an Iron Rot Helm, a Goliath Gauntlet, and also a strapping. So he will only be needing a legs unless he wants to upgrade or side grade one of his slots. In Brute, you generally are only attacking once unless you can get some go again cards. One of the best cards for this would be Snapdragon Scalers, and Sasha will be really looking to fill up his legs slots if possible. Right, Sasha's bringing up some more Awakening Bellow up to the front, as well as a few 6 power cards and a Primeval Bellow yellow. Now the benefits to this Primeval Bellow as opposed to the ones that Sasha already has is it pitches for 2. It's a little bit weaker, but it does pay for your Romping Club, and he picks it up in short order. Alright, Sasha picks up his next pack, brings out a Demolition Crew to the front. There's a foil Sand Sketch Plan, a super rare for Brute, and also a Savage Swing. He's primarily looking at picking up some 6+ power attack actions at this point, and he's having a read of the rare. Sand Sketch Plans, although it is a super rare, is not the most powerful card in draft. Sasha may be looking out to fill his 6 attack power, or maybe just his collection as he picks up a foil Sand Sketch Plans. Now, looking at Sasha's draft right now, he's lacking a lot of good resources. He's picked up a lot of red cards, but as playing Brute, he does need resources to pay for these cards. He's bringing up a red Savage Swing as well as a Savage Feast and a Smash Instinct, and he looks like he's tossing up between Savage Feast or Savage Swing. At this point, Sasha should really be trying to get a higher amount of resources in his deck. Getting some more yellow and blue cards will definitely help him, and he chooses Savage Feast. And now he picks up a Snapdragon Scalers, and it went into his pile before I can even see the rest of the pack. I don't think he even saw the rest of the pack. Like I said before, that was the last piece that he's missing for his equipment slot, and Snapdragon Scalers is a very powerful effect. It allows Sasha to play an attack, give it a go again, and then do another attack or swing with his Romping Club, and this lets Brute deal a lot of damage where they couldn't otherwise. So it looks like Brute is drying up by quite a large margin. There is still Warrior and Ninja cards, so it looks like the players on Sasha's left is more likely to be Guardian and Brute, with the players on Sasha's right more likely to be Warrior and Ninja. Now Sasha's just looking on whether or not he wants to hate draft a Biting Blade away from the Warrior, or just pick up a Flock of Feather Walkers, which is a fine card in Brute as it does create a Crooken token, allowing you to attack twice. He picks up a Sigil Solace Yellow, perfect for paying for Romping Club. Looks like this pack has a lot of Ninja cards. Doesn't look like there's a Ninja player anywhere to Sasha's left, and Sasha's going to pick up the only Brute card out of the pack, sending all the Ninja cards to his right. So Sasha's getting a lot of brute cards coming from the left right now. He chooses to pick up Smash Instinct Red over the Barraging Beatdown, and Barraging Beatdown may be a better fit for his deck considering it pitches for free, and Sasha's deck right now is very, very lacking resources. He has a lot of red cards, a lot of powerful cards, but the way he can lose is by drawing hands with no pitch power whatsoever and being restricted by the amount of cards he can play. There seems to be no ninja player at the table other than potentially the person Sasha's passing to right now. It's very likely there's only one ninja player at the table due to the abundance of ninja cards floating around. Now, going into the second review, what Sasha should really be doing is taking a look at his ratio. We know that he's 100% brute. We know that he has all 4 equipment. He does not have to worry about equipment in the next pack. But what he really does need to worry about is his resources. He should be splitting, as brute, he should be splitting his cards into powerful cards and also his resource system. A resource in brute is 6+ power attacks, and it's pretty important for Sasha to have a high amount of them, as well as looking at how many blue cards he has. As you can see, Sasha has kind of split this by putting all the blue cards in front, and now he's just counting the amount of playable he has. The minimum amount of cards being 30, it's very important to try to hit 30 cards by the end of pack 3, or else you're forced to play with cracked bauble. Looks like Sasha has some powerful red cards and about 5 blue cards as a resource. I see the thing that lacking right now is just 6 power attacks. Going into the last pack, he gets a Drone of Brutality and a foil Lord of the Wind, as well as 2 Savage Twins. Drone of Brutality, a very powerful card in Brute. You always ensure that you always have a 6 power card left in your deck, especially since he opened the best one for Brute. We see him looking at the Lord of the Wind, foil Majestic. Looks like Sasha is prioritizing Savage Twin. Savage Twin yellow being the best of the 3, considering it generates the highest resource while still having 6 power. But unfortunately has to pass the Drone of Brutality, which is a very powerful card in Brute. Looks like we have Unmovable Sigil of Solace and 2 of the same Awakening Bellows due to one being foil. Sasha really likes these Savage Twins. He's been putting them out in front. This one being red is unfortunately not as good for his resources. Looks like Sasha is tossing up between the Unmovable and the Savage Twin. He does choose to pick the Savage Twin red. He has a lot of powerful cards, many that actually attack for 7. We will have to see how well this ends up, as he does not seem to have that much resources. Alright, the next pack, he's looking at a Barraging Beatdown as well as 2 more Savage Twin. He's basically got every Savage Twin in the whole table at this point. He's looking at the yellow one, and the yellow one is the best one. It's better than blue, despite the blue adding 3 resources. The yellow Savage Twin does have 6 power and will activate Rhina's hero ability as a result. This next pack is featuring a Guardian helmet that Sasha may be looking to take away from the draft, as well as Smash Instinct. At this point, Sasha has picked so many brute cards that he's very nearing 30 cards in the deck. I wonder if he's going to more aggressively take other people's cards to make his life easier in the top 8. He does not. He takes a Smash Instinct, another fine card for his deck, considering it generates 2 resources and also has 6 attack. Sasha sees another helm. He waves it to the camera like he's frustrated or something, and then he picks up an Awakening Bellow. We know from the past that he's been prioritizing this Awakening Bellow very highly, so it'll be interesting to see if he even considers anything else. He ultimately is picking up Pummel Yellow. We know he already has a blue Pummel, but he's prioritizing the attack reactions instead of the Awakening Bellow. Sasha looks at the overpowers, figuring out why it's hit, and it's a very, very late Drone of Brutality. That's a very strong card in Brute, having 6 power and always being in your deck even after you discard it. He doesn't seem to be giving it much attention though. Brings it to the front, but he's also looking at a Raging Onslaught. Raging Onslaught does not have 6 power, but does provide a lot of resources for Sasha. At this point, the drone brutality should just be more powerful than any card in the pack. But he's choosing to go for Raging Onslaught. I wonder if he knows that card does not have 6 power. Sasha picks up a Barraging Beatdown, a Snapdragon Scalers, which the very first Snapdragon Scalers he saw, he picked it at the speed of light. This one does not work with his first one. You can only have 1 legs equipped, so the second copy is pretty redundant. He's looking at the Barraging Brawnhide. At this point, I think Sasha knows he is very lacking blue cards, and he really wants to play his attacks and have the resources for them. But he is highly considering taking away that Snapdragon Scalers from anyone at the table. He ends up picking the Snapdragon Scalers. Although Sasha cannot play both of them, by picking that Snapdragon Scalers, no one else at the table can be playing them, which should make his life easier in the top 8. Now there's a Wrecker Romp, which is the only card in the set that has 6 power and pitches for free. He decides to pick Wrecker Romp, which is a fantastic addition to his deck. Sasha brings up another Savage Swing to the top, as well as Raging Onslaught. One of these cards can provide free resources, while Raging Onslaught has 7 power. It'll be interesting to see which one Sasha prioritizes. His deck is very lacking resources, and he picks up the blue card as a result. Now, early on in the draft, Sasha ended up picking a lot of red cards and a lot of very strong cards, but not too much resources. And now as a concession, he has to be picking up these blue cards more aggressively to make sure his deck can actually function. He picks up another nice 6 power attack. That's a very late Snatch Red. There's 5 cards left in the pack. And also a Barraging Brawnhide. Now, Snatch is not the best in this deck. It's much better in a Ninja or Warrior deck, but Sasha may still be looking to pick it up. Sasha choosing to pick the card that has 6 plus attack, and he picks up a pack that just has nothing for him. Now, he can take the Wounding Blow if he wants to. He can play it in his deck, or he can choose to take a card away from everyone else, and he chooses to take Crush Confidence away from the Guardian player. Now he's just rounding out the rest of his deck with a few 7 power cards. Overall, Sasha's deck is not bad. There is a lot of powerful cards and a lot of brute cards in general, but we can see by his later picks he had to prioritize a lot of blue cards, and because he did not pick up his resources early on, he had to pass away a lot of powerful cards in the last pack. Overall, Sasha's deck ended up being probably about medium or medium plus. The best part about his deck was he managed to have 1 of each equipment slot, giving him a huge advantage against any other player that just does not have that many equipment. At the very start, he ended up picking up a lot of red powerful cards, but that slowed down later on as he knew that he needed more resources. Looking at this deck, it would be nice if he had a few more 6 power attacks, as well as some cards that actually let him go again, because it's quite important to being able to attack twice to deal massive amount of damages at 1 turn. He also is lacking a lot of Intimidate cards outside of using Rhino's hero ability, so it would be interesting to see how much damage he can really push through when his opponent's going to be blocking with the entire hand later in the game. I would have liked to see Sasha pick up the 2 drone of brutalities he saw in the draft, as that would really cement him into a strong late game and having a good game plan going into his matches in the top 8. But overall, this deck is probably like a 5 or 6 out of 10. Thanks for watching this draft, guys, and if you want to see how Sasha ended up, please check out fabtcg.com. You can see the whole event coverage. You can see where Sasha Markovic ended up in the draft. Make sure you give FabTCG a follow and like on Facebook, and also on Twitter at FabTCG. Be sure if you like this video to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment if you have any questions, or comment on what you'd like to see next.